Hello, welcome to the video. Today's video, we're going to be taking these cedar boards. We got some 2x4 and 1x4, 6 foot long, and we're going to turn these two boards into cocktail smokers like this. The 2-inch pieces are going to be for the bottom, and the 1-inch piece will be for the top. Most of the designs for homemade cocktail smokers I've seen, most guys use a wood lathe. I don't have a wood lathe, so if you want to see how I make them without that, just using a table saw. As you can see, this one is super cheap. What is this, Performax? I got this at Menards probably 4 or 5 years ago when I started making wood flags. It's just a super cheap saw. It's kind of crappy, but for what I do, it gets the job done. I do want to invest in a better table saw later this summer, but this is what I got, so this is what we're going to use. So give me a couple seconds here and we'll get everything set up and start cutting wood. Alright, change of plans. As you've probably seen, that cheap table saw just was not going to cut it, especially with that sliding miter gauge. Definitely should have a bigger table saw and probably a cross-cut sled if I wanted to do that. So I'm just pulling out my Skill sliding miter box here. Got my stop set up at just a hair, maybe 1/8 inch over, 3.5 inches long, which is the cut we want. I'll butt it up to there and then just back it off 1/8 of an inch about. And then if we're off maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8, we can touch everything up since we'll be sanding everything good. So let's see if this goes better. All right, wasn't ideal, but we made it work. We got everything cut. I think I counted 21 tops, and because we screwed up the first 2 cuts on the boards, I ended up with 18 bottoms. So we'll have enough wood for 18 smokers. It looks like everything's fairly accurate. We'll just make sure everything's perfect when we get to the sanding. So for now, our next step will be to find the center of each board, and we'll bring out the drill press and drill some holes. But I'm gonna get this stuff cleaned up first. Next step in this process now is to drill holes in our cocktail smokers. I can show you real quick. This is kind of what we're going after. This is what it's going to look like. So first step is to take 2 1/4 inch drill bit here, and we're going to drill initially 1 hole right there. It's only going to be maybe like 1/8 of an inch deep, and we also need to do that same hole on the bottom half of the top. After that, we'll come back with the next drill bit and drill down deeper, and that's where our little basket will sit for the wood chips. So I got an old drill press right here that I was given to me for free last year. It's not in the best of condition, but for what I need, it works. Definitely has some rust and water damage on it. I probably should spend some time this summer cleaning that up good, but I'm going to get this set up and then we'll start drilling these holes. All right, I got all of them drilled, that first hole. Now I'm going to take my next drill bit. This is just 1 1/4 inch, and we'll start with the bottoms, center it, and we'll go down to about right there. So I'll set a stop on the drill press so I can just max it out all the way down to the bottom. So each one will be the same distance. And what we're looking for is just this little basket we're going to use to sit all the way down in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the drill press set up with our 1¼ inch bit, get the stop set, and then we'll go ahead and start drilling all the bottoms. All right, got them all drilled out, so that part is done. Made a nice little mess with the wood shavings there from the drill press. I'm gonna get this cleaned up and probably be done for the day. Got to work this afternoon, and we'll come back tomorrow and go on to the next step. So I went to Menards the other day, and I just got a 1/4 inch by 36 inch red oak dowel, and we're going to cut that into little pieces about just over 1 inch long, and we got to drill a hole in the bottom. This is just a practice one from the last run, and then see, here's the final finished product. Drill a hole in the bottom, we'll glue the bottom dowel in, and then the top will be another hole that matches up, so it can just sit on there. So when you're not using it, it just lines up into place. So I got a whole pile of drill bits here. I can't see what size this is for sure, but all I know is it's just a hair over 1/4 inch, and that's all we'll need. So I'm going to get everything set up on the drill press, and we'll get going from there. I got a little jig that will get me in the same spot for every box. So let me get set up, and then we'll get drilling some holes. Alright, I just got a little jig set up here, clamped to the base, so I can throw each bottom in right there. Go there. Alright, we got all the bottoms drilled out. Now for the tops, I'm actually going to put them vertical, and then when I get this hole drilled vertical, when I flip it around, it'll line up, should line up perfectly with the grain going the same direction. Alright, got all the tops drilled out. Everything's looking good. So the next step now is just take that 1/4 inch red oak dowel and cut it into 1 inch strips. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this on the table saw yet, or if I'm just going to use a hacksaw. Hacksaw would be a lot safer than the table saw, especially when I'm only doing a 1 inch strip. So I'll probably just spend the time and just use a hacksaw and do it that way. Alright, so I did just end up taking the table saw out. Had to be very careful. Just use my miter gauge to run these along, and that line, little divot line right there, was roughly about 1 inch or just a hair over, so I just use that and use a sliding miter gauge here. Worked out fine, but I did have to be very, very careful with my fingers. Alright, next step is to take the pegs that we cut out and just sand them down. I'm just going to round the ends over, and I'm just going to use my belt sander, my hand belt sander turned upside down here, and just round these ends over. Alright, got them all rounded over. All I'm doing is just trying to take any sharp edges off them. So what we're going to do now is put a drop of glue in each bottom in the hole, and then slide our pegs in, just like that. I put a top on every bottom. I try to figure out which one's lined up the best, and the goal is to use this sander again and sand everything down, each box separately, and make sure we get a nice perfect fit for the top to the bottom while getting everything the first sanding done and everything. This should be, I think, 80 grit on there, so we can take quite a bit off to get everything to line up perfectly. And then once we got everything lined up how we wanted and that first sanding done, we'll come back with the orbital hand sander and hit it with 120 and probably 220 as well. Next thing we gotta do is drill some holes in the bottom of these for the smoke to actually go through. That's what it looks like from the top. So, just got a drill bit loaded up here in my trusty DeWalt drill. I'm just going to punch some holes in all of these, and then we should be able to move on to the final sanding. And actually, I might take a router bit and just round over the top so it has a little cleaner look. Alright, I just got a cheap little palm router here with a 1/4 inch round over bit, and we're just going to take it on the top of each smoker and get a little round over on it. Alright, just a little side by side. It's not too noticeable, but I think it kind of cleans it up just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and round over all the tops. Alright, this cheap little palm router and the cheap bits it came with worked pretty good. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but decent round over on them. Obviously, I'm going to have to do some sanding. But that's where we're at now. We just have to figure out how to sand in those holes we drilled real good, sand the bottom, and then give everything some last minute sanding before we're ready to roll. Alright, I'm going to clean up all these holes that I just drilled using my little Dremel tool here. I got the Dremel 3000, and I just put on a little sanding bit on it. I've already sanded everything with my palm sander with 120. I'm going to throw some 220 on, hit everything else one more time, and we'll be good to go. Alright, got everything sanded down with 220. I just put one of my tops in my laser and burned a Minnesota Wild logo on the top. This one's going out to a guy at work. Alright, back inside, I'm just going to coat everything real good with just some cutting board oil. It's just basically some food grade mineral oil. Colorless, odorless, tasteless. That's what we want for our cocktail smokers. Alright, we coated that pretty nicely. We're just going to let that soak in for about 24 hours, and then we'll be ready to smoke a cocktail with it. Alright, mineral oil soaked in, everything's good. Got our smoker box. Next step is to take this. These are from Amazon, just some stainless steel T-ball strainers. So what I'm going to do is just bust this one in half, and we'll just use this half for now, and then I'll take my pliers and take all this hardware off this half, and I'll be able to use this for another one. So we're just going to press that in there, and this project is done. Alright, thanks for watching the video. Please like it, leave a thumbs up, whatever, comment, subscribe if you want some more videos. Finished product, I think this one turned out really good compared to the first version I did. If you're interested in purchasing one of these, you can check out my Facebook page, JM Custom Crafts. Otherwise, I have an email. I'll leave both those links in the description below. I charge $40 for my smokers. I'm not making a ton of money off of these, especially for how much work and detail I put into them, but I just enjoy doing it. This is just kind of a part-time side hustle for me. So yeah, give me some love. Check out my page. Shoot me an email if you want, and enjoy.